the Witcher books, if you decide to do the 2 prequel books before doing the main Witcher saga or the Blood Elves saga, the first book you'll read is The Last Wish, and the first magical monster you encounter in The Last Wish is a Striga. If you aren't part of the book club yet, I'll be doing breakdowns of each chapter of the Witcher books and podcast episodes where I talk about each chapter with a special guest that is only available to those that support me on Patreon. So if you want to join in with reading the books and getting exclusive content you won't get elsewhere, please consider joining on Patreon. Link in the comment section and video description down below. And if you join before July 28th, you get a postcard with a personalized note from me. So this video, I want to talk about the Striga. As I said in the beginning of this video, this is the first magical monster we encounter in The Last Wish.
His name was Geralt of Rivia. He was a witcher, a professional monster slayer. An unusual contract to lift the curse that held a monarch's daughter. It was enough to spend the night with the princess, dusk till dawn. If only she were not a deadly beast, a Striga.
So a Striga is a female that is cursed and turned into a monster, and this can happen at any point in your life. If you're a fetus inside your mom's womb, tough shit. You can be cursed and born a Striga. It's kind of a shitty world in that regards. Because if you aren't familiar with the Witcher universe and the Witcher world, sometimes just the force of will is enough to curse someone. So let's say I'm hella jealous of this woman who's with this man and she gets knocked up by him and I'm like, you wanna know what? Fuck you, bitch. I can curse you. Obviously, it takes more than just a thought of screw you. There has to be some intense emotions and will behind it, but you get the point. While it isn't certain in the book The Last Wish who created the Striga in that chapter, it could be one of 2 people. In the video game, it's very clear it's one individual who I'm not going to ruin it for people, but here is a reading from his journal. I curse you, Faltus, and hope you rot amidst worms in hell. I curse your incestuous deeds. Your sister Ada deserved better. I implore destiny to render the child born of your lechery as monstrous as you. If the witch spoke truly, you will soon taste my vengeance. I need only to prepare the ingredients and utter the words thrice. Some say that not even the words are necessary, that hatred alone suffices. Know that my hatred is fierce. So that's a really good person. Curse an unborn child because you're jealous. Neat. Also, really quick, I know there were a few people that were upset that I would be talking about the video games along with the books. I just want those people to know that that's not something I'm going to budge on, but I will distinguish between the 2. So if there is a difference between the video games and the books, I will say which I'm talking about, and I will sprinkle in information from the video games where it deviates as well. I just want to make that really clear because I know there was a bit of anger over that. And it's just not something that's open to negotiation for me. I want to talk about both, and I will. Anyways, now once a Striga, the cursed female, is full of hate towards all living beings and will kill, usually eat them without any remorse or hesitation, which is because of the evil, twisted will that created it. Interestingly, in the Witcher world, basilisks are known for being very hateful and murderous, and a Striga has so much more concentrated hate and murderous frenzy that it makes a basilisk look like a puppy. Puppies that will still murder you for funsies, but you get the comparison. Strigas can kill up to 50 people per year, probably more if they're available, and it's incredibly easy for them to kill because they are very powerful and fast. In fact, here's a nightmare fuel description of one. 4 cubits high, shaped like a barrel of beer, has a maw which stretches from ear to ear and is full of dagger-like teeth, has red eyes and a red mop of hair. Her paws, with claws like a wildcat's, hang down to the ground. Also, a Striga can jump at least 10 meters in the air, that's about 33 feet in freedom units, and prefers to attack its victims by surprise and tear them apart before they know what's going on, so fuck ever encountering that. Interestingly, if you're cursed as a fetus, It seems that the mother will die in childbirth, bringing you into the world, and that people that witness your birth because you're so monstrous will either kill themselves or be in a daze for the rest of their life. Now, is that true for every case? Maybe. We don't know. There's not enough information on it. Probably because most people aren't sick enough to curse unborn babies, I would imagine. Because they only come out on the full moon to hunt and eat, they consider your liver and heart as valuable resources because they give them great nutrition reserves for the long periods spent in lethargic sleep. Though if you're inside their territory, around where they stay, usually in a coffin or crypt, you can be killed by her no matter the phase of moon. She just won't go out beyond her home unless it's a full moon. And because I love nightmare-fueled descriptions, here's a wonderful description of how one Striga chose to eat. Devours, takes a bite, leaves a side, it varies, according to her mood, no doubt. She only bit the head from one, gutted a couple, and a few more she picked clean to the bone, sucked them dry, you could say. So, again, no thanks. Now, the mood comment is actually important because even though they're a monster, somewhere in there is still a person with those emotions. They're just usually being overridden by the intense hatred and bloodlust. So there can be some emotions and conflicts, and the creature can respond how its non-monstrous age would. And because there's still a person inside the Striga, it is always suffering. However, you will be happy to know that a Striga, just like most creatures, has weaknesses. While they're resistant to iron, usually silver is fatal to them. Just like most magically created creatures, most, not all. Now it also might be interesting to you to know that a Striga can be cured, and usually a good witcher can tell whether the case is incurable and there is no hope, or, okay, yeah, we can probably cure her. And we're told this is how you break the curse. Someone must prevent the Striga from returning to her coffin by the third crowing of the rooster. Then she would be cured. But that involves getting up close and personal with a Striga, and from the descriptions I gave you, you can probably guess it's really difficult to stay alive around one. In fact, witchers have been killed by Strigas, and some have seen them and been like, no thanks, even though it's their job to take money to slay these magical creatures. Then, of course, you have other witchers that don't even want to attempt to cure the Striga and just want to kill it and be done with it. But if you find a witcher good enough to either keep her away from her coffin or be able to get inside her coffin and not let her in, then you can cure her if you get to the 3 crows of the rooster. Once the curse is broken, the female will look its age, so physically, there's no damage done. Mentally, it's not as great. Mentally, really, there is no telling, with some retaining the dim-witted and vicious Striga nature, even when cured. It also depends on the age they were cursed. Someone cursed at birth may have the level of a 3-year-old and require to be taught speech, human behavior, and everything, even if they're cured at a much older age. That means dealing with constant sobbing and bedwetting until you can help her learn and integrate into society. Now, it's not exactly clear if you're older and turned into a Striga, let's say you're an older woman and then you're cured, if you'll have those same issues. You might remain dim-witted and vicious like the Striga, but there isn't enough evidence to really say either way. You'll most likely have a lot of PTSD though, so you'll have that going for you. Because there's always a chance of relapse and a cured female turning back into a Striga, there's certain amulets and rituals that need to be observed. One, it is important night and day that you wear a sapphire around your neck. Even better if it has an inclusion in it or a trapped pocket of air and you put it on a silver chain. As well, every now and then you're going to want to burn juniper, broom, and aspen in a fireplace in the female's chambers. A witcher will also warn you that if an individual that has been cured of being a Striga swoons for a few days and then dies, burn their body quickly. So that is the Striga, the first magical monster you should encounter in The Last Wish. Alright, so those that are part of my Patreon book club for the Witcher series, make sure you stay tuned because there should be a special podcast episode with a special guest. There will be a chapter breakdown, and then as well there'll be some other little extra sprinkled in there. Besides that, make sure you like, subscribe, and come back for more videos.